Hey, what's up, guys? I just received an email, and the email is asking me to briefly explain FM synthesis for someone who is completely, in the dark about it. So, FM synthesis is frequency modulation. So, I suggest you watch my subtractive synthesis course to understand some of the fundamentals. But what FM synthesis is just an oscillator feeding into another oscillator. So we have, we'll use a sine wave and an LFO. So the LFO is going to be affecting the sine wave. So back in the day, they had LFOs that would adjust or modulate the pitch of a particular piece of audio to give it vibrato, like so, in theory. I think we need a bit more. Actually, we need a lot more. So spooky sounds, and that's kind of what they did, and it was more of an expressive way of playing with sound. Through, I guess, experimentation. I don't know who kind of invented this, but what they would do is bring the rate into the audible range, not just keeping it below 20 hertz, which would be the infrasonic range. So up and from 0.001 to 20 hertz, you can hear the fluctuations, and we'll do that now. You can hear that up to 4 or 5. This is up to 11. You can still hear the vibration. Up to 19-ish. You can hear it, but once you get past 20, you can't distinguish it. So this is how FM synthesis was born. You would have it straight up to an extreme, quote-unquote, extreme value. And you'd get these very rich kind of harmonics coming out of your synth, whatever it was, just from a very fast LFO. Simply an oscillator, a sine wave feeding into another sine wave at an extremely high speed, produced some very interesting sounds that were very hard to replicate. So this is the beginning of FM synthesis. One problem is there is no continuity between notes. So you'll be able to hear that later, but so there was no kind of tracking the rate. There would have to be a ratio between this frequency, the frequency of just this. There had to be a ratio between this and this to keep it, to keep continuity and to keep it more harmonically pleasing. Not just random fast modulation. This unfortunately does not have tracking for rate, as far as I know. So we'll move on to something called operator. So operator is basically an FM synthesizer. We have our sine wave to start out, just like before, and we have, via our routing here, we have 4 oscillators. D feeds into C, which then feeds into B, which then feeds into A. Say the alphabet backwards. And that's all well and good. Also, if we have them just all feeding into the output, it's still the same. They don't modulate each other. So we want to modulate A. So we know B goes into A. So we have 2 sine waves. And they're going to be kind of going into each other at a key tracked kind of speed. Oh, I'll do it unfixed. So unfixed, we'll just boost that up. So this is at 100 hertz, so it's well into the audible range. We have it at 10. It's acting like an LFO now. It's this is vibrato. You can hear the fluctuations, or yeah, you can pick them out. Once you get up into the audible range, you can't really hear it. So right now it's not harmonically pleasing. It doesn't fit in a scale. That's because it's at a fixed rate. So I can unclick that, and we will have something that's harmonically pleasing and that has continuity up the keys. No matter what, it's the same waveform. Right, so now we have something that could resemble an E bass or whatever. We can boost the level up. We can kind of leave that. So we have a very interesting shape there. What we can do now is we can feed another oscillator into B, which then gets fed into A. We have a sine wave here. I'll select something else. Select the saw. So we'll just we'll mute this and we'll just play the saw. That'll work. No, it won't. There we go. We have a lot of harmonics here. So that as an LFO will sound interesting. I'll pitch it up 12 semitones, which makes an octave. So we'll have that. So I'll turn these guys back on and I'll put the routing to where we had it. And I'll turn this down because I don't want it to be, mashed into it. So I want it subtly. So I'm going to press a note and increase it. See all these little guys here? I can have it at a fixed rate. So what's happening here is I have the saw kind of acting as an upper harmonic for our sound, and so it's at a fixed rate, which is 1.69 kilohertz, so 16 or 17K. So no matter what key I press, it'll still continue to play the same kind of frequency. I'll show you now. It'll still play the same sound no matter what. You can't really hear it. Right, that. But it doesn't matter what key I press, it'll still play the same sound. I'll turn these guys back on. Our routing, they're all feeding into each other. You'll notice that we have our basses, beautifully, the ratio in they're synced to each other. No matter what key you press, it sounds harmonically, correct. But I have this kind of upper harmonic here that plays freely, and that is adding some non-linearities to it. Much like, if you have a guitar string and you pluck that guitar string, you have the fundamental, and then you have some kind of upper harmonics over top of that. You have multiple. A guitar string is not just, plucking a string. There's a lot going on in it. And with FM synthesis, you can get some very kind of complex sounds. Right, and that is all well and fun. It sounds kind of like a distorted overtone. It's really interesting. So what I can do now, I guess I can add a triangle at a very high rate. I'll go 48, because that's how I roll. So that's causing some stuff to happen to D is feeding into C, and it's kind of putting it back in check. It's really kind of like not really predictable, and it's really kind of complicated once you get into complex patches, but because it's so complicated, you can get, very unique sounds. And that's with nothing. And you can add a filter. And that's very fun. Let's see if we can hear that. Ooh. So anyway, that's basic synthesis. It's more important to figure out the routing. And I'll just play what it sounds like. They're all bypassed. They're all not going into each other. We'll just have this. So subtractively, it sounds, not too fun. But, when they all go into each other, like human centipede style. So that sounds really great with, multiband distortion, EQing, and all that fun stuff. And that's just from a triangle, a saw with a lot of harmonics that's freely roaming. Oh, here, check this out. Yeah, you can modulate that. You can attach that to an LFO tool to get some nice. Where was I? You can get some nice harmonics. That's all I'm saying. And a sine wave feeding into another sine wave. So think about it as just a simple LFO at 10 hertz. From that to, something very, very interesting. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, hope you learned some stuff. Happy bass making, and feel free to like and comment and share, and send me cupcakes. All right, take care, guys.